Well, hi, I'd like to talk to you today about the joy of self-denial. In Matthew 16:24, then said Jesus unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Notice the words deny himself. And then in Matthew 16:25, Jesus said, For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. Now, Jesus said these things, but he also lived them. He was the ultimate example of self-denial. You know, in 2 Corinthians 8:9, Bible says, For ye know the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, that though he was rich, yet for your sakes he became poor, that ye through his poverty might be rich. And then, after washing the feet of the disciples in John 13:15, he said, For I have given you an example, that ye should do as I have done to you. That's the example he set for us. In Matthew 20:28, Jesus said, Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many. And certainly he did do that. It's no wonder the Bible speaks of the joy of the Lord, or the joy that was set before him. Now, Jesus had joy because he had died to self. But the opposite is true. The pathway to a miserable life is to be self-absorbed. From an unknown source comes an article entitled, How to be Miserable, quote unquote. It says, think about yourself. Talk about yourself. Use I as often as possible. Expect to be appreciated. Be suspicious of everyone. Be jealous and envious. Be sensitive to slights. Never forgive a criticism. Trust nobody but yourself. Insist on consideration and respect. Demand agreement with your own views on everything. Sulk if people are not grateful to you for favors shown them. Never forget a service you've rendered. Shirk your duties if you can. And do as little for others as possible. That's how to be miserable. You know, in Philippians 2 and in verse number 3, the Bible says, Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. Then it says, Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. George Mueller was known for his great faith and ministry to orphans in 19th century England. And he was asked the secret of his fruitful service to the Lord. He said, There was a day when I died, utterly died. As he spoke, he bent lower and lower until he almost touched the floor. I died to George Mueller, his opinions, his preferences, his tastes, and his will. I died to the approval or blame even of my brethren and friends. And since then, I have studied only to show myself approved unto God, quote unquote. Charles Spurgeon, as he got up in years, he said, I have now concentrated all my prayers into this one thing, that I may die to self and wholly or totally live unto him. Years ago, there were some missionaries bound for Africa, and they were laughed at by the boat captain who said, You'll only die over there. And the missionary replied, Captain, we died before we left England. Died to self. Now, what does this require? Well, you do not become offended when you're forgotten or neglected, but your heart's still thankful, being counted worthy to suffer for Christ. That's dying to self. Or you do not become angry when your good is evil spoken of, or when your advice is ignored, your opinions ridiculed. All that happens, and yet you refuse to let anger rise in your heart. That is dying to self. You don't seek honor. When you never care to refer to yourself in a conversation, or to record your own good works, or to itch after praise, when you can truly love to be unknown, that's dying to self. You are always content and When you are content with any food, any clothing, any climate, any society, any interruption as God's will, that is dying to self. You do not become envious when you see things are going well with your neighbor, and you can honestly rejoice with them without feeling envy or questioning God, even if your own needs are far greater and your circumstances more desperate. That is dying to self. It requires a surrender, but it pays great dividends. That's when we know the joy of self-denial.